Hi, so today I'm going to continue reading Because of Mr. Terupt. We're on page 237, and I'm not going to read very much today because I realize we are towards the end of May, so I'm going to finish May, and then tomorrow I will start the next month, which would be June. This is Jessica, Act 11, Scene 5, 237 if you're following along. We dropped Lexi off first, then Jeffrey. I sat in the front passenger seat and Jeffrey sat in the back. Before he got out, I asked him, "You okay, Jeffrey?" "Yeah, I'm okay," he said. "Thanks for helping me in there." "Thanks, Miss Reitman." "You're welcome," we said together. "I'm sure everyone's wondering what's up with me," he said. "Don't worry, your secret is still safe," I said. Jeffrey opened the door, but he didn't get out right away. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you, Jess." And I don't know if you noticed this, but when people shorten someone's name that's long, usually it's like a sign that they like you, not like romantic like, but like that you're close with someone. Like my friend's name's Mary, I call her Mare. You do that with people that you are close with. My friend Sydney, we call her Sid. Strangers wouldn't call her Sid, but when you get close with her. So he called her Jess, so that you can tell they're getting closer. "What happened to Mr. Terupt isn't your fault. You need to stop thinking that it is." Jeffrey's words startled me. I did feel guilty. I had roped Anna and Danielle into my wicked plan, which led to Peter's devastating snowball. "Then why did it happen, Jeffrey?" I said. "I told you that things happen for a reason, and I still don't know mine." "Neither do I," he said, "but not knowing the reason doesn't make it your fault." We sat quietly. Mom didn't say anything. I stared at my hands. They longed for a book to hold. I fidgeted with my nails and cuticles instead. Then Jeffrey spoke again. "I know one thing, Jess." He had called me Jess twice now. "You've helped me. I haven't had someone to talk to in a long time. Thanks." He climbed out of our car and shut the door. Before driving away, we saw Jeffrey's mom standing at the door to the house waiting for him, and she wasn't wearing pajamas. That's a big sign, so the mom is kind of changing, getting out of that depression. They hugged. Mom and I had tears in our eyes as we drove away. More of Mr. Terupt at work. I just knew it. We hadn't driven very far before Mom broke the silence. "Jessica, I need to tell you something that even adults have a hard time understanding, but I need you to try, okay?" I nodded, and I sat up straight in my seat to readjust my seatbelt. "I know you've been wrestling with the issue of whose fault Mr. Terupt's accident is, and as have many of your classmates. Poor Peter is really struggling, and I'm afraid the only one that might help him is Mr. Terupt." Mom slowed to the stop sign and looked both ways. "Whose fault is it?" I asked, raising my voice. Emotion can do that to you. Mom's went with the flow, just turned the car left and stepped on the accelerator. "Mr. Terupt," she said. I looked at the window. I didn't want to hear it. "Look, Jessica, you don't have to agree with me, and not everyone will, but you need to hear me out. Let me explain." Slowly, reluctantly, I looked at her. I didn't want her to be right. "Thank you," she said. "I told you it wasn't going to be easy." We slowed at a red light. "All those instances with Peter earlier on this year, and Luke's plant concoction, and all the other mischief," Mom paused. "I think Mr. Terupt handled them the way he did because he was trying to teach you guys some personal responsibility." The light turned and Mom pushed on the gas. "But that's what cost him in the end. He let you play rough that day in the snow, and hoped you wouldn't cross the line. But he made it your responsibility not to cross the line because he didn't intervene." "But how is that bad? Is that one of the reasons he was so special, because he gave us those chances?" "Don't use the past tense, honey. He is special." "First, fine," I said, annoyed but glad to talk about the present. "But isn't it?" I was annoyed because I didn't want the conversation slowed. I wanted answers. I cracked my window, suddenly hot. I let the wind hit me in the face. "It is indeed one of the reasons he's special. But in the end, you're still just kids. And asking you to assume that much responsibility isn't fair. You can't be expected to handle all of it all the time, so that's why it's his fault." Mom spoke so calmly. I knew he was trying to keep me from getting too, or she was trying to keep me from getting too upset. "It's his fault for asking you to act like adults when you're just kids." "Oh, sorry. It's his fault for asking us to act like adults when we're just kids," I said, restating Mom's argument. "Whereas if he had taken responsibility out of our hands by stop making us play rough, then there probably would never been a snowball thrown." I looked at Mom. "That's right, exactly," she said. "Well, I think that makes as much sense as Dad and his airheaded bimbo." Our car swerved. Mom was shocked. We hadn't spoken about Dad in a while. But he and his stupid girlfriend boiled to the surface of my upset feelings. Sometimes when you're upset, you say things that don't make sense or aren't really relevant. "Plus, I have a strong vocabulary and could probably have selected a nicer word for her, though I doubted I could have chosen a more accurate one. So she's like, yeah, I probably could have chosen a better word, but I felt like that word was pretty accurate. So now Mr. Terupt gets better. He's going to get in trouble. Is that right too? Not necessarily, Mom said. And watch your language. Besides, to say airheaded and bimbo is a bit redundant. Though I'll agree the new woman in your dad's life is a real floozy. The car slowed and Mom pulled into our driveway. Redundant means you're saying the same thing twice. Like a tiny shack. A shack is usually small, so that's redundant. She put the car in park and turned it off, and I undid my seatbelt. Jessica, I've spoken to Miss Williams and some of the other parents and the adult at school on several different occasions. We've been talking because we're worried about how you're all dealing with this. Nobody wants to see Mr. Terupt get in trouble, including Miss Williams and the school. Everyone knows he's a great teacher. We just all want him to get better. Mom leaned over and gave me a hug. I hugged her back. You know, Terry told me the other day that Anna asked if her situation is her fault. Anna's fault, I said? Of course it isn't. Exactly, Mom said. And I hope you know that what happened between your father and me is not your fault either. I needed to hear that. I hugged her again, and I didn't say anything because talking would have made me cry, and Mom was quiet too. I think for the same reason, quiet love filled the car. Okay, so when we read tomorrow, we'll be on June.